So today we are going to start with a new lesson for Unit 3 called as Magnetism and Magnetic Effects of Electrical Current. Under the heading called to be Magnetism, we are going to state about the Earth's magnetic field or Earth's magnetism, then how the magnets can be classified, how the strength of the magnet can be studied, how you can able to calculate the strength of the magnet for different types of magnets. Like that, we are going to study regarding magnetism in the first part. The second part is magnetic effects of electrical current. How electrical energy can get converted into magnetic energy, that we are going to study it in our next part of this lesson. So first of all, let us go with a small introduction. See, when you are considering the magnetism or a magnet, even right from your early stages, if it is a magnet, you are ready to play with that magnets. So generally we are saying magnetism or magnet study regarding magnetism is a fascinating study or is a fascinating one. So what is magnet and what is magnetism? Magnet is an object or an element or an component in which the property of the attraction available in the magnet or the phenomenon for the magnet is called to be magnetism. When you are considering magnetism, that magnetism is existing in this universe right from a very tiny object like an electron to a massive object, the earth or this universe. Because you might have studied, the earth itself is behaving like a huge bar magnet. Similarly, the word magnetism was being derived from the ore of the magnet was found in Magnesia in Greek, called to be magnetite. The ore magnetite, the chemical name for ore magnetite is Fe2O3, ferrous or ferrous oxide. So the ore which was being found in Magnesia, called to be magnetite, is from that word only magnetism was derived. But that ore magnetite is having a peculiar property. What does that peculiar property means? The magnetite, the ore magnetite can able to attract other ferromagnetic substances. Sorry, this magnetism, when this was being considered, magnet or magnetism considered, what are its applications? We can classify the applications in two, one in olden days and now in modern time. See, in olden days, they are using it for navigation purposes because a suspended magnetite ore can point towards always the northern direction. So using that, the navigation was being done easily. Similarly, magnets are used for some of the treatments called to be magnetic therapy and also mainly used in most of the magical cases or magical shows. But in modern times, we are having cycle dynamo, the generators, speakers, magnetic tapes, hard disks. In general, we can say wherever we are having the storage devices in an electronic instrument or in an electronic device, 99%, whatever 100%, we can say the storage elements in that electronic gadgets are being constructed only with the help of the magnets. So it was considered to be a very important one in modern days. Even your refrigerator doors are having magnets. See, in olden days or in previous years, while magnetism was studied, the magnetism as well as electricity was studied under two different topics. They are not related to each other. But after 1820, they were being united to call as electromagnetism. The reason is in 1820, a scientist called to be Oersted, he did an experiment and he found that nearer to a current carrying conductor, if a magnetic needle is placed, the magnetic needle gets deflected. If the direction of current gets reversed, Then also it was found out that the magnetic field magnet gets deflected, but in opposite side direction. So after discovering this component or this concept, electricity and magnetism were being combined together, called as electromagnetism. Called as electromagnetism. That's what we are going to study in this lesson. So the next topic that we have to see in this lesson is Earth's magnetic field and its elements. See, in general, we can say the Earth itself is behaving like a huge Bohr magnet. How we can say that Earth itself is behaving like a huge Bohr magnet? You take either a magnetic needle, or you take an magnetic, or you take an Bohr magnet. On the surface of the Earth, if you are placing the magnetic needle, or if you are suspending the magnetic Bohr magnet, what will happen? The magnetic needle placed will rotate itself and come to rest along the north-south direction. Similarly, the suspended Bohr magnet at that point will also, at any point, will also come to rest along the north-south direction. Why this is happening? This is happening because opposite poles will attract, as you know. So when the suspended Bohr magnet is having the north pole pointing towards that of the geographical north, means the Earth is having its magnetic south nearer to the geographical north. So the suspended north pole and the south pole of the magnet are attracting each other. Similarly, the south pole of the suspended magnet is pointing towards that of the geographical south. Upon nearer to geographical south, the Earth is having magnetic north. Since the Earth is having magnetic north nearer to geographical south, and the magnetic south nearer to the geographical north, the suspended Bohr magnet is coming to rest along the north-south direction. So the conclusion is this one: Earth is behaving like a huge Bohr magnet, having its magnetic north nearer to geographical south and the magnetic south nearer to the geographical north. Then we are going to study about the Earth's magnetism on its surface. So the study regarding Earth's magnetism on its surface is called to be geomagnetism, or called to be terrestrial magnetism. So we can define geomagnetism or terrestrial magnetism as the branch of physics which deals with the Earth's magnetic field. In order to explain the Earth's magnetic field or the magnetic field on the surface of the Earth, we are in need of three components. The three components are: one is magnetic declination, the second one is magnetic dip or magnetic inclination I, and the third one is the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field, represented as BH. So in order to study about the magnetic effects of electrical current, in order to study about Earth's magnetism, we are coming across three quantities or three elements, namely magnetic declination, magnetic dip or inclination, and horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field. Out of that three, let us first of all consider the magnetic declination. As we know, the Earth is rotating about an axis because of which day and night are formed. Now, you consider the axis over which or along which the Earth is rotating. The axis in which the Earth is rotating is called to be geographical axis. Now, you consider the geographical axis here. I have drawn it out with an yellow color. In that geographical axis, you consider a plane passing through it vertically. So if you are taking a vertical plane passing through the geographical axis, then that vertical plane is called to be geographic meridian. Tanya 2 mark la keklam. Now, to that geographic axis, you drop an perpendicular. You drop a circle perpendicular to it. When you are drawing a circle perpendicular to that of the geographical axis, then it is called to be what? Then it is called to be geographic equator. So we have defined three concepts. One is the geographical axis. The geographical axis is the axis on which or along which the Earth is rotating. A vertical plane that is passing perpendicular to that of the geographical axis is called to be geographical meridian. And if a great circle is drawn perpendicular to that of the geographical axis is called to be geographical equator. Then when you are suspending a bar magnet on the surface of the Earth, the bar magnet comes to rest along the north-south direction, indicating that the Earth is having the magnetic south nearer to the geographic north and magnetic north nearer to geographic south. So Earth is having magnetic north and magnetic south. That magnetic north and magnetic south are being connected or joined with the help of an imaginary line. That line or that straight line, we are calling it out as magnetic axis. The magnetic axis is an imaginary straight line which connects the Earth's magnetic north and magnetic south. Now, that was being drawn here with the help of that green color. If you are taking a vertical plane passing through that magnetic axis, that vertical plane passing through the magnetic axis is called to be magnetic meridian. Now you drop a great circle perpendicular to that of magnetic axis, this one. So perpendicular to that of magnetic axis will be giving you magnetic equator. So here we come across three concepts. One is the magnetic axis. The line which joins the magnetic north and magnetic south is called to be magnetic axis. A vertical plane passing through the magnetic axis is called to be magnetic meridian. Then a great circle perpendicular to that of the magnetic axis is called to be magnetic equator. You can take a note. The magnetic equator and the magnetic axis and the geographical axis never coincide. They are considered to be at two different points. Or we can say, when you are suspending a bar magnet or a magnetic needle placed at a point on the surface of the Earth, the bar magnet or the magnetic needle won't align along the won't align along or parallel to that of the geographical axis. It is always inclined at an angle. Now we have to define what? We have to define the declination. So the declination is defined as the angle between the geographical meridian and the magnetic meridian is called to be magnetic declination. So angle between magnetic meridian and geographic meridian is called to be declination or magnetic declination, capital D. What is the value of this magnetic declination at higher latitudes and at lower latitudes? Higher latitudes are nearer to that of the poles. Then magnetic declination is higher. When you are considering nearer to that of the equator, and lower latitudes, so at lower latitudes, we can say it is lesser. The angle declination is considered to be small, or it is taken to be lesser. This we are taking or considering it as the first element called to be magnetic declination. Magnetic inclination. Magnetic inclination can be defined as the angle subtended by the Earth's total magnetic field with the horizontal direction or the horizontal line drawn in the magnetic meridian. See, what is the explanation? When you are considering the magnetic needle placed on the surface of the Earth, it is coming to rest along the north-south direction. The line which it joins, it is called to be the magnetic axis. Along that magnetic axis, the net magnetic field is acting. If you are dropping a perpendicular to that magnetic axis, you will be having the magnetic meridian. The vertical plane passes through the magnetic axis as the magnetic meridian. In that magnetic meridian, you drop an horizontal line. See, I have an horizontal direction. You have to take an angle between the horizontal direction in the magnetic meridian, or the horizontal line in the magnetic meridian, and the magnetic needle or the net magnetic field. Then we are calling it out as the magnetic inclination, represented as what? Represented as See, we are going to consider about the third element taken to be the horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field BH. This horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field BH has to be calculated. Means let us consider this note. We are having the total magnetic field of the Earth, which is represented by B or BE vector. See, you have to resolve this net or total magnetic field into two perpendicular components. One of the perpendicular component is called to be the horizontal component, and another perpendicular component is called to be the vertical component. And the horizontal component எவ்வளவு vertical component எவ்வளவுன்னா அதை ரிசால்வ் பண்ணணும். அதுக்கு போல இன்க்ளினேஷன்ல வரைஞ்ச டயக்ராம் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. So you can resolve this net magnetic field into two. One along the horizontal means, and the another one should be along the vertical. So one is along the horizontal direction means it is inclined at an angle I, means the horizontal component can be written as BE cos I, and the vertical component, which is perpendicular, taken to be P sin I. So the horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field is now defined as the Earth's magnetic field, which is along the horizontal direction of the magnetic meridian. Horizontal direction of Earth in the magnetic meridian. So from that given diagram, we have taken the two values. The horizontal component as BH, BE cos theta I, and the vertical component as BV, which is BE sin theta sin I. If you are dividing one by the other, we can write tan I. Tan I is equal to BV divided by BH. So we can get the tangent of inclination is equal to ratio of the vertical component of magnetic field to horizontal component of magnetic field. We can calculate its values, vertical component value and horizontal component value at magnetic equator and at magnetic poles. If it is at magnetic equator, then theta is considered to be 0. So horizontal component is maximum and vertical component becomes 0. But at the same time, if you are considering it nearer to that of the magnetic poles, then angle of inclination or the dip I is equal to 90 degree. If it is equal to 90 degree, then we can say horizontal component will become 0 and the vertical component will become what? And the vertical component will become a maximum. It is BV is equal to BE. This is what we are considering about the three components. One is the declination, second one is the inclination, the third one is horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field. Based on these three components, Earth's magnetic field can be calculated or determined. Okay, hope you are clear. See, based on this, you are having only one small problem. The example problem 3.1. Take to page number 128. Yes, it is in the page number 128. Come on, go through the problem. The horizontal component and the vertical component of Earth's magnetic field at a place are 0.15 G, G means Gauss, CGS unit, and 0.26 G respectively. Calculate the angle of dip. Dip is nothing but inclination or the resultant magnetic field. You see, what are the things given? The first one is the horizontal component. So I can write BH. The horizontal component is equal to 0.15 G. Then the vertical component is given. This 0.26 G. You are asked to calculate the angle of inclination. Another one, the net magnetic field available. See, what is I? Not I. You have to calculate the, okay, I தான் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. So how to calculate this I? You know this formula. Previous case we have written tan I is equal to BV divided by BH. So I can write tan I is equal to 0.26 divided by 0.15. On dividing this, you can able to get 1.732. So what is the value of I? Value of I is tan inverse of 1.732. That is √3. Sorry, tan inverse of √3. I can write like this. Tan inverse of √3. Tan inverse of √3 is nothing but, come on, nothing but 60 degree. So angle of inclination is considered to be 60 degree. Then what is BE? BE is the total magnetic field or net magnetic field. Total magnetic field or net magnetic field. See, already I have told the net magnetic field or total magnetic field is resolved into two perpendicular components. So angle between the two is 90 degree. So we can write net magnetic field is given by the formula root of BH square plus BV square plus 2 BH BV into cos theta. Instead of theta, you are getting 90. So this third term will become 0. So the net electromagnetic field or net total magnetic field is given by root of BH square plus BV square, which is equal to root of, what is BH? BH is 0.15 the whole square plus 0.26 the whole square. So on simplifying, I can able to get the answer as 0.3 G. I have also given the answer in terms of G. So this is the first part of the problem. And this one is the second part of the problem. Hope you should have understood. Copy it,